Hello everyone and welcome to a rebuild with a difference. I noticed the other day whilst I was trolling through my Steam library that there was an achievement on Fm22 called Mr. Delegator, where the idea is that the manager delegates every single responsibility within the club to someone else, to a different staff member. And I thought, let's combine this with the idea of doing a rebuild. So I've put them together, and today we will be rebuilding, we being the operative word, Leicester City. Now, the reason I picked Leicester is because when I did my Premier League predictions, I predicted Leicester to really struggle, and I got some heat in the comment section from some of you guys because of the fact that I don't think Leicester have really got a good enough squad to survive and be as good in the Premier League as they have been over the past few seasons. Obviously, they've won the Premier League as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how this goes because, one, I'm not going to be in control of transfers. I'm not going to be in control of giving people new contracts. I'm not going to be in control of anything. So let's dive in and take a look at how this looks. So guys, the first thing we're going to start off with the responsibilities tab. Now, this is the staff responsibilities tab. As you can see in the top left corner of your screen, the manager, myself, will be doing nothing. The staff in the team will be doing all 97 tasks assigned to them. So obviously, if we go through and take a look at some of the staff responsibilities here, all of the staff stuff is being handled by other people, including the matches, picking the team, touchline instructions, scouting, releasing players, signing players on new contracts, signing new gens. All of this stuff is going to be completely delegated to my entire board of staff, which again I'm not in control of. So we will be taken to the field as Leicester City in this 5-year rebuild, and I will say we've put in a tactic to kind of hopefully help them. You have to put in a tactic. Ideally I would have done this without putting a tactic in, but you have to put a tactic in. So we've put in the 𝘼𝙗𝙤𝙪 V3. I will leave a link down in the description for this tactic because it is a very good tactic and I'm hoping it can carry this team. Obviously at the start it looks okay. The starting 11's pretty okay, but then for me it's the depth that kind of lacks for Leicester City. Obviously they're struggling in goalkeeper in my opinion. Danny Ward, not really a help, not really an improvement on Kasper Schmeichel, who has left for Nice now. Maddison, Vardy, Fofana, Ndidi and Tielemans are kind of the main bets here, but I will say I will touch on Youri Tielemans because we are using an updated database. Oh no, they've already signed him to a new contract, doesn't matter. I was going to say because we are using an updated database, his contract will be up at the end of this first season. We are about to go into the 2022-2023 season. Again, I'll leave a link in the description to the video where I show you guys how you can get this database up and running, but this is with the most recent transfers and stuff. So as you can see, the guys behind Jamie Vardy in this 4-2-3-1 are in the bin. In terms of some of the competitions and stuff, we are about to start the Premier League today on in-game obviously, and then we have the Emirates FA Cup and the Carabao Cup, which because we're using a updated database, they'd give us the board expectation of not judging on that one for the first season. But in terms of the Premier League, we are in the Premier League of course, and if we go into the season preview, they actually have us to finish in 8th as odds of 50-1. I was a lot more harsh on Leicester City this time around. They do have Forest, Fulham and Bournemouth as the 3 promoted teams. Obviously Forest, Fulham and Brentford are the 3 to go down, which isn't overly different, massively different from where I had things in my predictions, which I caught a lot of smoke for. Anyway, what we're going to do guys is obviously we've plugged in the tactic. We're not in charge of absolutely anything, so we are going to simulate the entire first season and we're going to come back and see what business has been done. In terms of some of the transfers here, there has been a few little signings that have gone on, mainly for the youth team, so I'm not really going to touch on them. 𝘼𝙗𝙤𝙪 Perez and Yannick Vestergaard have been 2 players that have gone out on loan. But yeah, no, Ryan Astley was a signing. Not exactly going to get in the first team, is he? So let's simulate this first season and see what happens with Leicester City. Okay, so maybe I was a little bit harsh on Leicester City in this simulation. Using the 𝘼𝙗𝙤𝙪 V3, they did finish in 4th, with me not doing anything to help this club. We've not done anything other than plug in the tactic. So it's finished in 4th, 38 games played, 20 victories, 8 draws, 10 losses, plus 20 in terms of the goal difference. Man City win the league. Is that a sign of things to come? potentially. Manchester United and Liverpool in second and third respectively. That's probably a little bit of a ways away considering what's happened at the start of this season so far, but there we go. Knocked out in the 5th round of the FA Cup by Manchester City. Knocked out in the 2nd round of the Carabao Cup by Blackburn Rovers. But looking at the recent form, it looks like the team struggled at the start of the season. It did. So they lost to Man City at the start of the season. Lost to Blackburn, lost to Wolves, and then they started picking things up. It kind of started to look all right, actually. Beating Liverpool, beating Arsenal, beating Manchester United consecutively. That's quite good. So the team, all in all, I've qualified for the Champions League, which is not where I had Leicester in my predictions. Let's have a look at some of the other stuff that they've done. Have they made any signings, first and foremost? Oh my goodness, yes they have. So they've signed all sorts of free transfers here. No one that I would really touch on. Okay, so they've signed Sergio Rico as a goalkeeper to come in. Obviously didn't have the confidence in Danny Ward, the same as I didn't. So he comes in, Sergio Rico from PSG for £2.9 million. They've also signed, as I said, all of these free transfers. Then they've signed, who else have they spent some money on? 1.3 million on 𝘼𝙗𝙤𝙕, another goalkeeper. Okay, AI doing AI things. So interestingly enough, they're doing okay. I'm actually quite impressed with Leicester, to be honest. Looks like they've let a couple of other players go. Danny Ward has gone. Mark Albrighton's gone. And Timothy Castagne on loan to Inter Milan. I don't understand why you wouldn't play him. I think he's quite good in this year's Football Manager. But first season, pretty impressive from Leicester City, actually. Maybe I should just do these hands-off rebuilds more often. Just do nothing, just simulate through 5 years and let the game do its thing. But, okay, let's give them a full summer transfer window and see how things happen in Season 2. Right then, so transfer update going into Season 2, and the AI has actually been pretty darn busy. So they've gone out and got Dani Ceballos in on a free transfer to go in the midfield, which I'm actually not fully against. I think Dani Ceballos is an interesting player, nice and creative, not awful, but probably not a starter. So quite nice there. They've signed Anthony Martial for £13.75 million. How did he have? What was his season like last year? Barely played for United in the Premier League, so not great there maybe. But we all know Anthony Martial can do things in Football Manager. This is the one I've been impressed with. They've gone out and signed Angelo from Santos. He is one of the main wonder kids in this year's iteration of Football Manager. So that is a good signing from Leicester City there. However, I do have something to bring your attention to that I am furious with. They let Jamie Vardy go on a free. And he's gone to Paris Saint-Germain. I just don't know what is going on.
What's going on here?
I know he's 36. Actually, on the day of recording this, Jamie Vardy has actually just signed a 1-year extension with Leicester City to stay at the club for another year. I wish that had happened in this particular simulation because, yeah, we could have done with Jamie Vardy, I think, and he's been replaced with Martial, who scored 1 goal last season. So he is going to be a big loss. The AI is actually quite busy in terms of some of their transfers in and out, picking up some of the free transfers there. This is another guy they've spent some money on, Junior Messias, a winger again. It looks okay. Comes in from AC Milan. Angelo is the one that I'm really looking forward to be perfectly honest. So if we take a look at the team, and quick pick without restriction, the best 11. According to the assistant manager, this is what we are looking at this season. So Sergio Rico, the new signing in goal. Timothy Castagne does come back from his loan at Inter Milan. Fofana, Soyuncu and James Justin round off the defensive line. And Didi and Tielemans are the 2 central midfielders. That kind of makes sense. They did sign Jurgen Draxler at the end of last season. I don't know how Draxler's actually going to do in this team, or in the Premier League or whatever. Personally, I don't rate him that highly as a footballer. Madison Barnes, and then Anthony Martial. Obviously, they do have Patson Daka, who I imagine will sort of fight out with Martial for that #1 striker position. In terms of the competitions that we are in, though, we are in 4 competitions: the Premier League, the Champions League, the Emirates FA Cup, and the Carabao Cup, and we've got board expectations for all of them now. They want us to reach the quarterfinals in both English domestic trophies. They also want us to be competitive in the Champions League. Obviously, we do enter that in the group stages, and then they want us to finish inside the top half of the Premier League. Now, have some of the signings that the guys have done, the AI has done, been productive? They think we're going to finish in 9th with odds of 50 to 1, so it's barely changed from last season. So we're going to see what happens here. We're going to simulate things through and see how the first season without Jamie Vardy is going to do. Okay, mixed bag, I would say, from Leicester City in season number 2 of this completely hands-off rebuild. Leicester finished in 10th in the Premier League on 53 points. Looked like they had a really rough finish to the season as well. We'll take a look at the Champions League in a minute. Because the final's not over, it's not telling us where Leicester City finished. But they were semi-finalists in both domestic cup competitions, losing to Leeds in the FA Cup semi-finals and losing to Manchester City in that Carabao Cup semi-finals. So let's have a look at those semi-finals first and foremost. Lost 4-2 on aggregate over the 2 legs against Manchester City, who did then go on to win the title. And then they lost 5-3 to Leeds United at Wembley, where West Ham went on, after beating Liverpool on penalties, West Ham went on to win the title. If we go and take a look at the Champions League, they were in Group E, a very tough group, some would say. PSG, Barcelona and AC Milan, and they make it through there, even if it was with a -1 goal difference. Leicester do make it through. Barcelona drop into the Europa League, and AC Milan are out of European competition altogether. So if we scroll down a little bit further and see how they got on in that Champions League. So in that first knockout leg, first knockout game, they took on Bayern Munich. So they beat Bayern at home and then lose away from home. So they go through into the quarterfinal stage. They take on Shakhtar Donetsk. They win 4-1 at home, and then they lose 1-0 away from home. So they're doing pretty well there, and then they get into the semi-finals and come up against PSG, who beat them in the league, or in the group stage, shall we say, who have signed Julian Alvarez and Nico Barella. PSG in this particular instance, they beat them 3-2 in France at the Parc des Princes, and then they beat them 5-2 back at the King Power, with Kylian Mbappe scoring a hat-trick. So ultimately, the run in the Champions League gets into the semi-finals in all 3 cup competitions is actually very, very good, and you can kind of see why the league form would struggle with that a little bit, but they did finish inside the top half of the season again. Patson Daka, the second highest, or joint second highest goal scorer in the league, behind Erling Haaland alongside Gabriel Jesus. Manchester United do go and win the Premier League title. Alexander Isak with the all-important goals there, it would appear, with Erik ten Hag is still as the manager. Is this some foresight into the next couple of seasons? Maybe. But middle of the road for Leicester. In terms of their finances, they've got £58.6 million to spend. I wonder how the AI is going to spend it going into season number 3. Right then, AI transfer update going into season number 3 of this Leicester City rebuild, and they have been slightly busy. They've signed a lot of players, guys. They've signed so many players, but I don't know how many of them are actually going to impact the team in a positive way. One I missed last season, they did sign Emilio Buendia from Aston Villa for £19.25 million, which would rise to £23 million. I did miss that one. That did happen there. And then they've also signed Victor Lindelof from Manchester United, and there's a reason for that, guys. And that is because Wesley Fofana is now a Manchester United player. This is a big loss for Leicester City. They had him on loan last season for £1.5 million, which is a ludicrous thing. They loaned him out to the Manchester United for the back half of the season. Then United bought him for £57 million. This is quite a lot lower than what Leicester are looking for Fofana in this particular transfer window that we are going through right now. But Leicester City fans, let me know down in the comment section if you take £57 million for Wesley Fofana. Soyuncu has also gone. He has gone over to Real Madrid. Much the same. They did a loan to buy, 300k on the loan, and then bought him for £24 million. So the 2 centre-backs have been gutted, and they've been replaced by Victor Lindelof and Davinson Sanchez. Okay, there's the transfers out. Fofana and Soyuncu go into their clubs after their loans, but they've also been out and bought a couple more goalkeepers because why not? They've also gone out and signed 𝘼𝙗𝙤𝙪, whose name I always butcher, the Turkish international goalkeeper. There's a couple of Turkish goalkeepers this year on FM. He is one of them who is very, very good. So they've gone out and signed him, but they've also gone out and signed Diogo Costa from Porto. I don't know what the AI is doing here, to be perfectly honest with you. Diogo Costa comes in. He is their #1 goalkeeper, Portugal international, 24 years of age. Has been pretty good for Porto, looking at things in this save. Yeah, 7.28 being his lowest average rating throughout the course of the seasons, but I don't know why they're signing so many goalkeepers, but Davinson Sanchez and Victor Lindelof, it definitely seems like a little bit of a downgrade from Fofana and Soyuncu. But let's have a look at the team that the AI has put together. If we quick pick without restriction their best 11, this is how we are looking. So we've got Diogo Costa in goal, Timothy Castagne, Davinson Sanchez, Victor Lindelof and James Justin, Wilfred Ndidi, Youri Tielemans, Angelo is in the team running things now, James Maddison's there, Harvey Barnes and Patson Daka. Interesting options off the bench in Pereira, Buendia, Martial, Luke Thomas obviously is coming through as one of the youngsters in this year's game, Iheanacho, Draxler, William is a guy that they've signed, I believe. Yes, he is. Fullback option. But look at the amount of goalkeepers in this squad, guys. So they got Diogo Costa, they got Buendia, they've got Helton Liete, they've got Iverson, and they've got Sergio Rico down here as well. So 5 goalkeepers in their first team squad, which is absolutely ludicrous. AI doesn't know how to build a team, it would appear. So it's an interesting one for Leicester City this year. Obviously, they did get to the semi-finals of the Champions League in season number 2, but didn't qualify for any sort of European competition. So maybe this is a good year to have a good season in the Premier League. The board don't care about the Carabao Cup. They want us to reach the quarterfinals of the Emirates FA Cup and get to the top half of the Premier League again is the only thing that is required. If we go and take a look at the season preview, we are still 50-1. We are predicted to finish 8th. We're not moving. We're not moving up. We're not moving down. We're just expected to finish in the same position every single season. Let's simulate and see how this newly formed team gets on. So season 3 is in the books and the team finished exactly where the media prediction said they would. They finished in 8th, just behind West Ham and Everton and Arsenal and stuff like that. Newcastle have now claimed a Champions League place, but this league looks like it is all over the place. So you can see Aston Villa qualified for the Europa League here. That's obviously through winning the Europa Conference League would be my assumption from finishing that low down. Oh no, from winning the FA Cup, of course, why wouldn't it be? And Chelsea qualify for the Europa Conference League, I can only assume by winning the Carabao Cup, which they have done, which is absolutely crazy. Arsenal finishing 5th, so they've won the Europa League and joined Manchester United, Liverpool, Man City and Newcastle in the Champions League. Leicester though, 18 victories, 5 draws, 15 defeats, +8 in terms of the goal difference. The team's doing okay, but it must hurt seeing Fofana go to Manchester United and lift the Premier League trophy twice in a row. That must be quite great. In Buendia doing okay in terms of the assists and average rating. Darwin Nunez is actually now a Newcastle United player. Klopp obviously lost faith with him, and I'm seeing lots of loan to buys at the moment. They've had a loan and then they bought him for £18 million from Liverpool. So very interesting what is going on in this world that I'm not really involved with. I'm just simulating through it. In terms of some of the other competitions, knocked out in the 5th round of the FA Cup by Chelsea, knocked out in the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup by Liverpool. It seems like we are always the bridesmaid, never the bride. We don't seem to get to these finals. We lost 3-2 on aggregate to Liverpool as well, who were defeated by Chelsea in the Carabao Cup final, which is unfortunate for them. Patson Daka, the top goal scorer for the team though, alongside Anthony Martial, 19 goals apiece from these two. It's actually not too bad. The team's good at goal scoring. The team just can't keep the ball out the back of the net, guys. It seems like selling Fofana, selling Soyuncu and replacing them with Lindelof and Davinson Sanchez probably not the best bit of business. But the team has some more money going into season number 4, £73 million to be precise, £73.3 million to be precise. It's going to be a lot of money to spend on. I hope they do it because the overall balance is really, really good. So I'm hoping they go out and spend big and really reinforce this team. So I have to say, the AI in the transfer market is really blowing my mind, I must say. So they've gone out and signed this guy as well. Jonathan Augustinsson is a fullback, left back from Rosenborg. They signed him last season as well. But look at all these transfers that have happened here, and they all seem to be like youth transfers for the most part. There is one that I do want to pull upon, which is Cesar Aspalaquetta. 35 years of age now is Aspalaquetta. He comes in to the team last season, who I completely forgot to mention to you guys, £2.6 million, and he played 33 times as well, which is absolutely ridiculous. They've also signed this guy, Lucas Martinez Quarta. I actually like the look of this guy. Looks like he's bounced around a couple times, starts to save at Fiorentina, been to Atalanta, been to AC Milan. Now he is a Leicester City player. They paid £24 million for him this season, actually going into season number 4, after playing only 8 times for AC Milan last season. So potentially a little bit of a punt, but it looks like he's had a good couple years, so we can stand by him a little bit. Some other transfers that they've had, they obviously don't like Timothy Castagne. He went out on loan again to Inter, absolutely crazy scenes, and then he's signed for Inter for £28 million. Ricardo Pereira, another Leicester City player who's gone to Real Betis, £9.5 million for him. They've also signed this guy, Josh 𝘼𝙗𝙤𝙪, another left back. I don't know why they're doing this when they've got Luke Thomas in the squad. £6.5 million out the championship from Stoke City. I don't know anything about this guy, so you guys can let me know down in the comments if he's any good. Keane Lewis Potter comes in again from Sheffield United. He's an okay player. I'm not really expecting huge things from him. £14.5 million he comes in for, which is I know he's coming from Brentford, which is yeah, it's a weird one. He's played in the championship last season and not really set it alight that much. And then obviously we've got the customary youngsters that have come in, which will play no parts. It's just the AI just wasting salary money effectively, which is absolutely ludicrous. So the team going into season number 4, I thought they'd go out and really strengthen the defensive line. They did sign 𝘼𝙗𝙤, but they haven't signed anybody else. So this is the team: Costa, Justin Lindelof, 𝘼𝙗𝙤, Aspalaquetta, and Ndidi, Tielemans, Angelo, Madison, Barnes, and Patson Daka. Now we saw that Daka and Martial could do really, really well last season in terms of their goal returns, but they've got a couple of players here who are a little bit unhappy. James Justin unhappy. Patson Daka wants his initially agreed playing time. Yeah, we've got some issues in this squad. I hope the AI can handle it into season number 4. Obviously we have the same 3 competitions again this season, guys. We've got the Carabao Cup, which they don't care about. We've got the quarterfinals is the minimum requirement for the FA Cup, and then the top half of the Premier League. Are the odds just going to be the exact same for us, I assume? Oh no, we've slipped down 100 to 1 now to win the Premier League, and we are predicted to finish in 11th. So let's simulate and see how season number 4 of this AI only rebuild gets on. Top half of the table, mediocrity, it would appear, with the AI in control of Leicester City. I can imagine that they are capable of so much more than this, especially considering some of the transfer funds that we've seen come in. But Leicester have finished in 8th again, the perennial sort of positions that we always seem to finish in. We always just seem to just be in the same spots after that first year where we just dominated everybody and finished in 4th. Knocked out in the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup, 3rd rounded in the FA Cup by Bournemouth, who are not a Premier League team at this particular time. But looking at the Premier League, 15 victories, 10 draws, 13 defeats. If you just turn a couple more of those draws into defeats, you're doing much better. Man City back on top of the table. Manchester United, Liverpool and Arsenal round things out. Looks like Newcastle had a very poor season after qualifying for the Champions League, finishing down in 13th. I don't know what to do with this team. Obviously, I can't do anything with the team. Patson Daka, the top goal scorer as well. It's just the defensive stuff. You probably won't be able to see it because it's behind my head, but the goals conceded, they are the 4th worst team for goals conceded in the Premier League. 65 goals conceded. They did score 74, so we're good at goal scoring, but we just keep conceding. They just need to find better defensive options after not really replacing Fofana, in my opinion. Going into season number 4, though, season number 5, sorry, the 5th and final season of this AI only rebuild. £67 million to spend. Please, 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 AI, just buy some good defenders. Right, guys, you know how we do things on these rebuilds on this channel. If you are still watching this video right now, please comment down below Vardy party. Now, I know he left in this rebuild, but he has just signed a new 1-year deal with Leicester City in real life. So comment Vardy party down below to let me know that you guys are still here as we go into season 5 to see how the AI has wasted even more millions of pounds. So we go into their transfer update here, and we've looked at some of the players. They spent £13.5 million on Rob Holding. He is now a Leicester City player going into season number 5. They bought another centre back. This isn't the kind of player that I was kind of looking for, really. Lots of transfer activity going on here. Iheanacho left last season. He went to Monterrey. Bundia went to Sassuolo. I can completely understand that. Hamza Chowdhury left to Cadiz. Sergio Rico went to Celta Vigo. Lots of transfers that have gone on. And just look at all the bodies here. Christopher Mcfarlane is a new gen by the looks of things. He's gone to Aston Villa. He actually looks quite good. I don't know why Leicester haven't kept hold of him. But in terms of some of their other signings, they've signed this guy, Daniel 𝘼𝙗𝙤. Obviously, you need another goalkeeper because Diogo Costa, why wouldn't you need another goalkeeper? They've signed so many goalkeepers. This rebuild is absolutely crazy. Costa 𝘼𝙗𝙤 comes in as another left-back option. Obviously, he's won the Premier League with Liverpool. He spent some time at Inter Milan. Leicester bought him in this instance for £10.5 million, having not played for the last 3 years basically at Inter Milan after a £23 million transfer there. And then yeah, it's not looking great. They've just been signing these new gens really. This guy coming in from Kowloon Bay, it's just not good, is it? I just don't understand why the AI is doing this, to be honest. It's just signing loads of youth players and not really utilising the money that they've got. If we go and take a look at their squad, this is how things are looking going into the 5th and final season. Diogo Costa, James Justin, Lindelof, 𝘼𝙗𝙤, Thomas is back actually in the team. He's had a couple of injuries this way through. And Ndidi and Tielemans the mainstay in the midfield. Angelo Buendia, Barnes, and then Patson Daka up top. Patson Daka again is still unhappy. Wants his initially agreed playing time despite being the top goal scorer for the club the last 2 years for Football Manager, doing Football Manager things. As I said with the transfer budget though, they've still got £55 million to spend. I just don't understand why they've not spent it. In terms of the competitions, we've got the same three again. Premier League, FA Cup, Carabao Cup. The Premier League, again, they want us to finish inside the top half. If we look at the season preview, we're back at 50-1, guys. 9 predicted to finish 9th in the Premier League, 50-1. Fofana is one of the best centre-backs in the league, apparently, according to the Media Dream 11, which is always a little bit extra salt in the wound, isn't it, for Leicester City fans. But Leicester, what? Jurgen Klopp's the West Ham manager. Okay. Pioli is the okay. Ancelotti, okay. Ancelotti's the Man City manager. Is Ten Hag still the manager? No. Okay, of course he's not. Okay, we're going to simulate the season and see how we get on in this 5th and final season with this hands-off Leicester City rebuild. It looks like the AI has finally made some progression with Leicester City. They finish in 6th in this 5th and final season and will be playing Europa League football next year. Beaten semi-finalists yet again in the Carabao Cup. I really thought they'd add a Carabao Cup to their trophy cabinet to go alongside that Premier League from a few years ago, but alas, not to be done. Knocked out by West Ham in the semi-finals this time around. Knocked out in the 5th round of the Emirates FA Cup by Liverpool, but as I said, they did finish in 6th in the Premier League. They did turn some of the draws from last season into victories this time around. 18 wins, 10 draws, 10 losses, plus 24 in terms of that goal difference. So things are really turning up a level. Man City win the league again. Liverpool, Manchester United and Chelsea all qualify for the Champions League. Arsenal, Leicester are in the Europa League alongside Wolves, who finished in 16th. And then Nottingham Forest are in the Europa Conference League despite finishing in 13th. So fair play to them. And Newcastle, with all their millions, with Vincent Kompany as their manager, get relegated down to the Championship. As I said, FM is weird at times. Leicester have done pretty well here, though, I would say. Patson Daka, again, the goal scorer, the man who has replaced Jamie Vardy, ultimately, has done pretty darn well, I would say. I'm just going to touch on Patson Daka. If we go into his history, his career stats, ultimately, he's been pretty good. Double digits in terms of goals every single season since Jamie Vardy has left, averaging over a 7. Maybe if Vardy were to retire in real life, obviously I know he's just signed that extension, Patson Daka could be the guy to lead that line for Leicester City. They do have loads of money left. It's absolutely baffling. 67 million pounds and loads of money in their payroll as well. Going into season number 6, if you wanted to take over this save, you can do. Join the Discord. The link will be at the top of the description. Come on in, join the Discord. I post all these saves in my Discord channel for you guys to take over and take to the next level and see how you get on. But if you have enjoyed the rebuild content, guys, and you want to watch some more, check out this playlist. It's going to be popping up right here, right now, for you to go and enjoy some of the other rebuilds that we've done over the FM22 game cycle.